Hello and welcome. This is a specific training for Plexus adhesives in the marine industry. What I'll be going over today is the Plexus value proposition, the various applications within the marine industry, a chemistry overview of Plexus MMA versus other chemistries available. Where does Plexus bring a processing advantage in that industry as well as a mechanical advantage? And then I'll end a little bit with the product selector. So in general, Plexus MMA reduces the cost of assembly by reducing the amount of surface prep and developing strength quickly. It couples that with improved durability, so very good fatigue resistance, very good impact resistance, strength, and elongation. And overall, the total package is easy to use. It can handle off-ratio mixing, low exotherm, so less print through, and very good stacking of the adhesive to fill larger gaps. Some applications, some of the biggest is deck to hull and stringer bonding in the stringer grids. But there are other ones such as radar arches, bonding on hardware and rub rails, different center consoles, and some interiors. There are a wide range and varied applications in the marine industry where Plexus is used. Typically the competitive chemistry that we go against is the polyester-based putties or wet tabbing in various features. And here Plexus has a pretty distinct advantage on the ability to pump, mix, off-ratio performance consistency, but the biggest is the engineering aspect, the strength, impact, resistance, fatigue, elongation, enabling thinner laminates, removing wood out of the construction. And overall, even though it might have some slightly higher material costs, because of the labor savings, the overhead savings, the overall cost to assemble is lower. So let's talk a little bit about process. Before, particularly with putties, many instances, scuffing, particularly on gel coats or other areas to ensure good bonds. Well, Plexus can reduce or eliminate that. We can dispense quicker and cure quicker at room temperature, and then because there's no print through, there's no fixing parts afterwards. What does that look like? Because the reduction in labor and the fast dispensing and producing more parts per hour with less capital, it does lend to an overall cost savings, anywhere between 10 to 35% on average. The big thing is reliability in the industry. So most Plexus products can handle off-ratio cure up to plus or minus 20%. In fact, some customers in the winter will purposely go off ratio and have more activator, so it goes faster to combat the colder temperatures. And in the summer, go a little slower, maybe 12 to 1, so that when it's hotter, it keeps the reactivity very similar. A question that we get asked sometimes is, how come on your tech data sheet you say between 200 to 300 or so thousand centipoise viscosity? Your competitors are over 1 million, yet you can dispense and lay down just as thick of beads and stack them up as well. Well, that's because the Plexus materials have very nice shear thinning properties. So when they're getting mixed and while they're getting pumped, the viscosity goes down. Once you place it and it stops moving, the viscosity builds rapidly to over 1 million centipoise. This phenomenon allows for better mixing, easier pumping, yet a great gap filling capability. Next, let's talk a little bit about mechanical properties. So here I have a vinyl ester bonding paste and a urethane acrylate bonding paste that we've tested with various types of tests besides lab shear. So we looked at impact energy absorbed, and Plexus absorbs much more energy and impact, which means less stress is getting transferred to your laminate. It also has high resistance to peel. So cleavage peel used for thicker laminates, Plexus does much better than these other two joining pastes. And then a big thing is ability to retain strength as the bond line increases. Plexus is really ductile, has excellent gap filling capabilities, and in general, all adhesives, the strength goes down as the bond line and the bond line gap increases. But you can see here that the Plexus marine grade MMAs only lose a little strength at larger gaps, whereas a 2K polyurethane used in the market or a urethane acrylate bonding paste has significant reduction in strength at larger gaps. If you still have a customer that's still doing a wet layup process and is curious about the strength of Plexus versus a wet layup, we've done numerous tests where we'll do a bonded stringer section versus a wet layup stringer section, and we'll actually pump in air to create a high pressure vessel almost to see when it fails. So in this instance, because Plexus distributes stress so well, it has really good balance of properties, not only strength, but peel resistance. The amount of pressure or force that it could hold is almost twice as much as the wet tab system, because that's a concentrated stress area. So this is a huge advantage for long-term durability of these marine vessels. Another key one is fatigue resistance. So if you've attended some other trainings, I talk about this quite a bit. But this has been independently verified. This is a university in Poland, I believe, that did fatigue testing of carbon fiber laminates to steel and put it in fatigue. And here, this is their study. You can see that Plexus had over twice as much fatigue resistance as some of the competitors. And in fact, some of the competitors, performed exceptionally poorly with very, very, very low fatigue life. So it's a real testament to the long-term durability of Plexus adhesives. So in summary, Plexus has a really nice long history of bonding composites, particularly in the marine market. Plexus MMA has a really nice mechanical properties. That's a huge advantage making for lighter weight boats in the marine industry. And then the fast curing and the reduced amount of surface prep and the ease of dispensing creates for some significant process improvements in the manufacturing of marine craft. Thank you for attending this training. Hope you have a wonderful day, and let us know if you have any questions.